Hello everyone, and welcome to another E3 conference analysis video. Once again, it is just me, Mike, and today we're going to be focusing on what I think was the best conference, at least that I've seen so far. I haven't watched them all yet, still trying to catch up on some of them, but from the ones I've seen so far and the ones that I've heard about at least, I think this one was the best, and that is Bethesda. We're going to jump right into this because there's so much that I want to talk about. I have a feeling this might be one of the longer videos. To prevent that, I'm just going to jump right into this. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the first announcement that was at the trailer, and that's Rage 2. Now, we knew about this game, and they even made a joke about it because Walmart sort of spoiled this by putting it on their website early, so people knew about this game before it was meant to be announced. But that's fine. You know, we got to see a little more about Rage 2. The game looks fun. Again, there's a lot of comparisons to Bulletstorm. It looks similar to the first Rage game, but a lot seems to be changing in it as well. The action seems to be a lot more high-paced. It seems a lot more of a, I don't want to say a joke game, but it seems like it's taking itself less seriously than the first game did. Not that the first game was like a serious shooter anyway, but it feels very high-paced. The cars and the racing around the world looks very cool. The way that they're using the cars and the mechanics seem awesome. The way they blow up and the way you can save the cars and things like that. I like what they're doing with it, but again, there wasn't a whole lot of details. It sort of just showed what the combat's going to look like and what type of game it's going to be. This game is still very far off. It's spring 2019, but I'm excited. I like the first Rage game, and this is something that I'm probably going to pick up. I never beat the first Rage, so that's something I'm going to have to do before I play this. But Rage 2 looks like it'll be a fun game. Again, the comparisons to Bulletstorm to me seem accurate. Bulletstorm was a great game. I think if you liked that game, you would like the original Rage, and you would probably like Rage 2 as well. So something to look forward to. But again, it still has about 1 year before this game is even announced. So we got plenty of time. After that, we saw a trailer for Doom Eternal, and this was super cool. Doom games are awesome. They've sort of been rebooting that series as well. There was sort of a time where Doom wasn't really coming out very much. And then lately, there's been a lot more Doom games coming out. This one looks really cool. Awesome. They said there's twice the demons in it. It said it's going to improve upon the demons in that aspect. And they said it's going to be hell on earth. And so that's really all they said about the game. The monster design in it looks absolutely awesome. The Doom game that just recently came out looked really, really cool too, as far as like the graphical design and stuff. But this one seems better. This one looks like it actually is hell on earth. This one looks far more like hell than any of the Doom games I've seen so far. And so I'm super interested in that. Again, there's not many details, but there will be more details coming out in August when QuakeCon happens. And so once that comes around, I'm sure there's going to be lots of news and stuff that I'm going to want to cover from QuakeCon. So when that comes around, I'm sure there'll be more to talk about from Doom Eternal. But for now, it's just cool knowing that there's a Doom game coming out in the future, and I'm excited for that one. Prey also had a couple of exciting news announcements. The first one is that there is going to be a VR game for Prey coming out soon. Never really finished Prey. That's another one of the games that I started, played about an hour, and then didn't finish. It's something I do want to go back to, though. But it seems like it would be cool in VR. I think Bethesda's done awesome with VR games as far as, like, Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. They've done a lot of cool VR stuff. So, you know, putting Prey in VR also seems like it'll be a lot of fun. That doesn't really have a release date or upcoming thing for it yet, but that'll be cool. There's also a lot of DLC coming out for it, both free and paid. They're adding a New Game Plus mode and survival mode for free, so that'll be cool. And then they're also adding some DLC for the game as well that they said is pretty much infinitely replayable, whatever that means. I guess it's something that it might have like different endings, or it might just have a lot of options on how you go about beating it and things like that to where you want to replay it. I'm not really sure, but it sounds cool. And then later on, they're going to be adding a Typhon Hunters mode, where essentially one human person is going to take on 5 of the mimics, which are essentially the shapeshifters of the game. So it's one human versus 5 of them. So it's obviously the teams are 1 versus 5, but it still sounds fun. It sounds like a very unique combat mode. I'm excited for how they're going to integrate that into the game. I don't know if it's going to be paid or not. I don't know if they said in the conference, but we'll see. It's just one game mode, and seeing it the direction that DLC's been going lately, I'd imagine it would be free, but I don't want to say that because I could be wrong. But that seems like it'll be a cool update whenever that one comes around. And Prey is not the only game that's actually getting a VR upgrade. Wolfenstein is also going to be getting its own VR game, and that one will be coming out soon as well. And they also announced a new Wolfenstein game called Wolfenstein Youngblood, and this one is really cool. So if you played the recent Wolfenstein game, you know that the main character BJ had twins. He had 2 daughters, and those are going to be the main characters of this game. So, as expected, with twins being the main characters, it is a co-op game. It's also entirely playable solo. It's not a game where you have to play with both twins. You can just take control of one of them and sort of play through the game. I'm not sure how it's going to work. I say that, but I don't actually know how that works. But they did confirm that the game can entirely be played solo, but it's also a co-op game. And judging by the twin aspect, I'm assuming that the game is designed to be played in co-op mode. So I think you'd have more fun doing that. This is the first Wolfenstein game that's come out recently that's had any sort of co-op, and so I'm excited for that. Me and Matt both love the Wolfenstein games, and I'm hoping eventually, we always talk about playing games together. This would be a fun one to do, I think. It's called Wolfenstein Youngblood, of course. But this one, again, like everything else we've announced so far, is far out there. It's not coming out until 2019, but it looks cool. Now I want to talk a little bit about the mobile market, because there was a couple things announced for that as well. 2 small things and 1 big things. First of all, I say mobile, but I'm sort of talking about the opposite of the mobile market, actually. Things that were originally for the phone that are now coming to console. The first one is Fallout Shelter. This was an explosively incredible game. I absolutely fell in love with it. They said there's over 100 million players for this game now, so it is absolutely popular. It's sort of a management game where you're sort of building up your vault in a Fallout game, and it's really, really cool. Previously, it was only a phone game. It's recently, not too long ago, came out for Xbox One. It has now officially hit PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. And so we finally have a Fallout thing on Nintendo Switch, and that is actually available right now. It came out the night of Bethesda's E3 press conference, and so we're quite a few days past that now. So if you want to play Fallout Shelter on the Nintendo Switch, obviously PS4 too, but I'm more excited about the Nintendo Switch because Bethesda's been holding to their promise of supporting Nintendo's consoles, and I think that's awesome. So you can take that game and play that as well. And that's not the only one. For those of you that have heard of Elder Scrolls Legends, it's basically the card game version of Elder Scrolls. Never been too into like the card game stuff, but this one always looked kind of fun. Never really got around to playing it, but it is a phone game. This is another one that will be hitting all 3 consoles. This one is not on any console yet, it's strictly a phone game right now. But pretty soon it will be hitting Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. And when it does, I will definitely be picking it up for the Nintendo Switch. Don't know why I pick it up on that and not my phone, but that's just the kind of guy I am. And so I think that'll be an interesting one to pick up as well. I'm not sure how it works. I'm not sure what type of game it is. When I watched the thing, it didn't really explain a lot. I know this game was announced a long time ago, but, you know, this is a good time to pick it up. You know, if you like Gwent, I'm sure you'll like this game for what that's worth. And then the last phone game that they talked about, there was a brand new one called Elder Scrolls Blades. And this one I'm very excited for. This one is an action RPG. So it's different than the other games because the other 2 games, though they're Fallout and Elder Scrolls, it was a management game and a card game. So they were obviously nothing like the single-player exploration games. But Elder Scrolls Blades does seem like it's going to be more along the lines of what Elder Scrolls normally is, so probably dumbed down, I'd imagine. It's mostly just like dungeon crawling and things like that, but it still seems cool. Essentially, you play as a retired member of the Blades, which are sort of like the elite guards of the Empire in the Elder Scrolls universe, and so you play as a retired member of that, and you sort of go on quests and things like that, and help people out and stuff. And the dungeon crawling doesn't seem too amazing. Todd Howard kept saying throughout, though, that on the trailer it looks way better when you're playing it on a phone screen as opposed to looking at it on a big screen. So I'm going to take his word for that. I'm probably going to download it. Again, I should say this game is free, so there's no reason not to pick it up. There was no talk about microtransactions and stuff. I'd imagine there would be some. I don't know any free-to-play game that just has no microtransactions at all, so I'd expect there to be some, but they didn't mention any, so I can't confirm or deny anything about that. But it looks fun. I mean, my whole point in saying all this was that it doesn't look amazing, but Todd Howard says it'll be, and I think it's worth trying out. Obviously, he would say that, but he kept saying that on the screen it doesn't look that great. I think that's what he was trying to allude to. But one thing that does look awesome is the town building aspect. The premise of the game is that you go back to your hometown, and it's sort of not been demolished, but it's gone down, basically. It's hit poverty at this point. And so it's your job to sort of help rebuild it so you can add things to it and all that. And the more you play, I'd imagine, the more gold you get, and then the more you can add to your town. And then you can visit your friends' towns as well. And so that aspect of it seems really cool because Elder Scrolls has never had that. Fallout has, where you like build up, obviously with the Shelter game, they've had their own management game. But even in Fallout 4, you sort of build your own town and community. That seems like a thing that's going to be in this game as well. So Elder Scrolls Blades looks cool. I'd imagine it's pretty far off still. It says it's coming out in the fall. So we still have a couple months before this game is finalized, but, you know, it looks fun, and it's free to play, so if you're an Elder Scrolls fan, you're probably going to download this, because why wouldn't you? Now, before I jump into the huge topics that I want to talk about, this video is going to go on forever, there was a funny joke that I don't think a lot of people realized was actually true. They did a Skyrim very special edition, and it was sort of just a joke commercial where someone was playing on the Alexa, where they were sort of saying to Alexa, use Shout, or use Fusroda, and things like that. People didn't realize this was actually real. If you have an Amazon Echo or any sort of device that has Alexa on it, you can play Skyrim on Alexa, which is absolutely crazy. It works kind of like a text-based game. You know how like way back when games were text-based RPG and you could type into it? You can do that with Skyrim now. People thought it was a joke, but that's a real thing that you can actually do, which is hilarious. And so if you have Alexa, why not do that, you know? You own Skyrim on pretty much every system: Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, VR, PC. It's on every system. Now it's on Alexa, and I think that is so funny. So, you know, good on them for sort of embracing all the memes of how many systems Skyrim has come out on, but this one's free, so, you know, why not go for it? Now I want to get to the big stories, and I don't know where to start. I have a list of a few, but I guess I'll start with Fallout 76, because that's the order that they were announced in. My gosh, this game looks awesome. My fears were confirmed in that it is an online survival game. I was kind of hoping it wasn't going to be online, because I'm not a huge fan of online RPGs, but the way they worded this one, it makes me sound like I'm still going to be okay with it. They said this game is online, but it can be entirely played solo. So you don't actually have to play the online part, is what I gathered. It's not an MMO, is what it sounds like to me. In the typical sense of an MMO, where you have to sort of go online and get a subscription to play it. It sounds like it's going to have online players and people you can interact with, but it's not a requirement to enjoy Fallout 76, which I think is a good thing. You know, it seems like it's kind of running the middle, which is kind of true because Todd Howard describes it as sort of a soft core survival game, meaning that when you die, you don't lose progression, you don't have to restart a new character, everything you had stays on you, so you don't have to worry about getting killed by another player and then having to restart or recollect everything that you lost. It's a survival game, but it's sort of an easy survival game, because people know that player versus player games can get kind of brutal in terms of a player coming up and killing you and then you having to restart over and over, because if you join a game like this, there are going to be players that are better than you, obviously, and it kind of takes the fun out of the game. And so it seems like Todd Howard was aware of that, and the game was designed around that, which I think is really cool. The setting of this game is West Virginia, and they said that the map is 4 times bigger than Fallout 4, which is incredible because Fallout 4 is massive. I've been playing that game for almost 100 hours, and I know there's areas I still have not found yet. So this game is going to be huge. Online games are always huge like that, but still, you know, it's just cool hearing how massive this game is going to be. And the cool thing about this game is it takes place 20 years after the nuclear war. So this is a prequel to all the other Fallout games. And Vault 76's goal was sort of to come out kind of early on Reclamation Day and sort of start rebuilding the United States after the nuclear war. And so that's the premise of the game. You know, you leave and then you're trying to like reestablish humanity, rebuild the USA to its former glory. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think that's a neat idea, because then you have other people from the Vault, which are the other real life players that are online with you as well, that are rebuilding their own towns. And the cool thing about it too is that Todd Howard mentions that you will have dozens of players in your world. This is post-apocalypse world. There's not tons and tons of people running around. You're a small vault of people that came out and rebuilt. So you're not going to run into people all the time, but you're going to run into people every now and then. You know, it's just maybe 30 to 40 people running around your world would be my estimate. And I think that's good. You know, you're going to hit people every now and then that you can interact with, be friends or enemies with or whatever, but you're not going to run into them a lot. It's going to feel like a wasteland, and I think that's really cool. That's a better way to do it than just running into someone everywhere you go. You know, so many MMOs have like a hub world where there's 200 people there all just walking around. I think this is a better way to do it. So you're not tied to one server either, so the cool thing is you're not just going to be going on the same server every single time you do this. And then the other cool thing is you can nuke other players. I forgot how the process how it works, but you can actually end up getting a code, a nuclear code, working with other players and stuff, and then you can nuke people, which is hilarious. One of the descriptions I saw on a website is people said this is like Borderlands mixed with Fallout, and I think that's a perfect description of what this game is. So yeah, Fallout 76 looks so promising. I'm absolutely going to be picking this up for Xbox when it comes out, which, by the way, we also got a release date. This is what absolutely floored me. I think of all the announcements at E3 so far, this was the huge one for me. November 14th, 2018. I thought this game was going to be 2019 for sure. I would have absolutely bet we were not going to get it this year. And it's coming up in a few months. We're about 5 months away from getting this game. So it is like right next door. And I think that is so awesome. So I am super hyped for this game now. Now, there's 2 more announcements I want to make. Again, I would talk about these games forever, but there isn't much to talk about because there's nothing to even speculate about yet. The first one I want to talk about is Starfield. Starfield is their new single-player IP. Pretty much with Bethesda, it's been Elder Scrolls and Fallout for a very long time. They've had other games in the mix and stuff, but those have been the 2 main ones. Starfield seems like it might be a third one because they said it's going to be a single-player RPG type game set in space. At least that's what the screen looks like. If you look at the 20-second trailer they put up for the game, there's just a little spaceship in outer space that just takes off. So it seems like it'll be a sci-fi game, which is vastly different from Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Fallout being a post-apocalyptic world, and Elder Scrolls being like a medieval fantasy world. So this one is going to be completely different as well. But if it's a sci-fi RPG game, I'd imagine it's going to feel similar. It's just going to have different elements. You know, it's a different backgrounds for the same sort of formula, and I think that's awesome. Bethesda is, I think, the best company at making like these action RPG type games, and so I know they can do no wrong. The thing is, this game has pretty much no release date. I'd imagine 2020 would be the release date, or maybe late 2019 for this game, because there's just not a whole lot going. They pretty much said this is a project that is next gen. Not many people really know what that means for sure, but next gen sounds like that means PlayStation 5 or whatever the next Xbox system is going to be. So it might not be coming out until then, but it could be like one of the launch games for those systems. So, but the expectation is that PlayStation 5 and stuff won't be hitting shelves until 2020. So Starfield seems like it's far off. But it looks awesome, and I'm super excited that they would share that with us. And then the second game that they announced after Fallout 76 is even more hype, but they said this game's not coming out until after Starfield, so this one is really far off, and that is Elder Scrolls 6. That will obviously be a next-gen game. I don't think that one's coming out until PlayStation 5 and Xbox, whatever they're going to call it. And I think more than anything, it's just exciting to hear that they're working on the Elder Scrolls game. They pretty much confirmed, yeah, this is a few years away, but just hearing the Elder Scrolls 6 theme and seeing the mountains and stuff and knowing that it's something that they're starting to put an effort into is really exciting. There hasn't been much Elder Scrolls talk except for the Elder Scrolls Online game, which has been going on and on, which by the way they did announce DLC for, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's same old stuff. But with Elder Scrolls Blades and Legends, it seems like they're focusing on the phone games a lot more. So I'm excited to hear that there is a console Elder Scrolls game in the works. I don't care how far away it is. I waited 15 years for Kingdom Hearts 3. I can wait a few years for Elder Scrolls 6. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Bethesda's press conference. That's all I wanted to talk about. This conference was incredible. I already made videos for EA and Square Enix, and I already mentioned that those ones were a bit on the disappointing side. There's a few games in those two that I liked that made it work for me, but Bethesda from top to bottom just had absolutely incredible games. I can say no bad about this company. I mean, if they canceled half the games at this show and only released the other half, it would still be the best conference at E3, I think, so far. Nintendo's up there too, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to Nintendo. But for now, let me know what you think and what Bethesda games you are most excited for. If you thought their conference was a hit, or if you thought it was a bust. Again, I think it was awesome, but that's my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think as well. So with that being said, thanks everyone for watching. Bye-bye.